YouTube? This your girl Samantha Sweets, and welcome back to my channel. Hey, sweetie squad, what's up, my lovies? Happy Saturday. Okay, guys, so I'm about to talk about the great American crime unsolved story of the late, great Jon'Benet Ramsey. You guys have been waiting for this. It was highly requested, and I want to make sure I do it right for you guys. So I have been following this case since day one. This has been 24 years since this horrible crime occurred. Jon'Benet Ramsey was born on August 26, 1990, and unfortunately passed away on December 26, 1996. She was a beautiful little girl. Absolutely blonde hair, blue eyes, gorgeous, okay? She was breathtaking. She was in the pageant world, and a lot of people say that that's another reason why that this was such a high-profile case, is because of her being in the pageant world. Does it have to do with her death? I'm not exactly sure. So we're going to talk about her life, we're going to talk about the crime, and we're going to talk about who did it, who didn't do it, in my opinion, and I want to hear in your opinion, y'all's. So, as you guys know, Boulder, Colorado, Pat and John Ramsey, they were very wealthy, very blessed family. They had 9-year-old Burke at the time. Jon'Benet was 6 years old. Jon'Benet was actually entered into pageants when she was 4 years old because her mother was a pageant queen. So she wanted to pass it on to her daughter. And I feel like, this is my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. I feel that a little girl that little and getting into pageantry and the little dresses and the way, and 6 years old, it's a little too much. It's what I feel. I feel like that is seriously a child molester's dream. And I hate that. I absolutely do, because pageants should be a fun, you know, it helps grow women's self-esteem and everything. And it gets turned into something so sadistic because of sick, twisted people out there. You know what I mean? But anyways, Jon'Benet Ramsey, on her last Christmas, she woke up early that morning. She ran downstairs with Burke. They opened presents. She got a bike. She got a dollhouse. Like I said, this little girl, she always made everyone smile. She lit up a room. She was just beautiful, and she was a beautiful person. They went ahead and had dinner at a friend's house, the White's house, which was right up the road, and they had to come home early because they had to get ready to go to their Michigan summer home the next day. So this was Christmas morning, and the next day was Christmas Day. It was the day after Christmas. So they left the White's house about 9:30, and Jon'Benet actually fell asleep in the car on the way home. Her father carried her upstairs, put her to bed, and that was it. The next morning, Pat Ramsey wakes up. She walks down the back of her stairs leading to the kitchen, and she finds not one, not two, but 3 long pages of a ransom note. At first, she didn't know what the note was, but then the ransom note, she realized it was obviously a ransom. It basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing because good Lord, it's so long, but it basically just stating, you know, we have your daughter. If you want to see her alive, don't call police, and it said that you have to pay $118,000. There was something very interesting about the $118,000. It was actually the same amount that John Ramsey, it was the same amount that his business bonus in his company had just given him, $118,000. So Patricia, again, 5:52 in the morning on the day after Christmas, she immediately calls the police, and she's screaming like a banshee, yelling. You can actually listen to the 911 call on YouTube, or if you watch it, I watched it on Inside Edition on YouTube. You can listen to the whole 911 call. She is frantic. She's screaming. She's a mother worried about where her child is. She told John, run and go check on Burke, and Burke was still in bed fast asleep. Supposedly. Now, there's been, you know, confrontation about that. The cops got there at 5:55. She called 911 at 5:52, and the cops got there at 5:55. That was fast, okay? That was fast. They got there, and Patricia and John, being the prominent family they are, they called all their friends, pastor, everybody to come to the scene. This house was full. This is a crime scene, people. A child has been kidnapped, okay? And crime scene. and you have all these people traipsing through. Now you will hear that is exactly why this case has not been solved. A big thing, because the evidence was straight botched, okay? You had people coming in and out. You had people making toast. You had people tracking in, other fibers and other footprints and stuff. You had people cleaning the kitchen. Whoa, it's a crime scene. So obviously the police know that they messed up. Okay, the ransom note said that they were going to call between 8 and 10 a.m. They did not know if it was that day or the next day, because they said the next day. And remember, she read it at 5:52 in the morning. So 10 o'clock came, no ransom call. The family wasn't even questioning it. The mother, the father, they weren't even questioning it. Actually, Pat, she was with a friend in another room, and John was reading his mail at the table. It was really weird if you think about it. I mean, why wouldn't you worry about when the ransom call is coming? So the two police officers, because they were shorthanded because it was the day after Christmas, everybody's out of town, they ended up leaving, and they left this, dang it, what is Linda Arndt? Maybe Linda Arndt? I know the last name is an A. So Arndt. But anyways, they left her behind, and she had no history of working with missing children, crimes, anything. She was basically a desk person, okay? She had no idea what to do with herself. And so she tells John and his friend to go search the house, see if there's anything out of place. According to her, John immediately decides to go look down in the basement. Looks down in the basement and opens up this side door, the wine cellar, immediately opens it up, and boom. Lights turn on, and there is 6-year-old Jon'Benet Ramsey dead on the floor. Her hands were tied with cords above her head. Her mouth had tape on it. She had a gash in her head. She had a cord wrapped around her neck. She was in little white lawn johns with a silver star on top, and this little girl was wrapped in a white sheet. She was dead. John immediately grabs Jon'Benet and runs her up the stairs and lays her down in the living room in front of the Christmas tree. Okay, what did he do wrong, ladies and gentlemen? He moved a body. He moved a body. So the deputy is freaking out. She's calling for help, for backup. She's freaking out. It's weird. I'd never heard this until the other day when I was refreshing up myself on the case. For some reason, I think it was Linda Arndt. I'm pretty sure it's Linda Arndt. Mrs. Arndt, when she saw Jon'Benet being placed right there on the ground and John leaning over Jon'Benet, she said she grabbed her gun in her holster and said, okay, I have 19 bullets and I'm not afraid to use them. She said at that right there, she felt that John was the reason for his daughter's death. I've never heard that until the other day. So I just felt like, including this in here in case you haven't heard it. Patsy runs in, she scoops up Jon'Benet. Everybody's realizing she's dead. She's cold to the touch. She gets up on her knees and says, Lazarus, raise my child. Hey, everybody grieves in their own way. Okay, that was a little extreme, but everyone grieves in their own way, okay? You have a mother who just found her only daughter dead. Now it's time to find out who did it. As police are coming back into the scene, they have to get all the people out of the house, and John decides he needs to book a flight. He needs to get his family gone. Your daughter was just found dead, and you want to book a flight? You want to go to Michigan after all with your son and your wife? I mean, I understand, like I said, okay, you don't want to be in the same house as your daughter was found in, but you can't run. It just makes you look guilty. From this point on, the case turned very odd. Pat and John refused to interview with the police unless they were together. Why wouldn't you be trying to help as much as you can to find out who murdered your daughter? Okay? So I'm going to read to you guys real quick what I found in the autopsy, and we're going to go from there. So, Jon'Benet, her skull fracture, a vicious blow to the head. She was sexually assaulted while she was still alive with the paintbrush that was her mother's, that was found as a garrote. I took a picture of the garrote, so here's a picture of it right here. It is a stick, and it has a rope around it, and the more you twist or someone moves, the tighter it gets around your neck. She also had 2 marks on the side of her cheek right here, and it has to be found that it was a taser. Jon'Benet was also tasered in the process. So cracked skull, tasered, and a garrote. The garrote is what was the final. She died from asphyxiation. She was still alive when she received the taser and the garrote. The blow to the head. The blow to the head was actually first, is what they found out. Her body was found with 1 ligature around her neck and another around her wrist, and there were small amounts of dry blood and bruising around the vaginal area. An 8.5-inch fracture ran the length of the right side of her head, and she had bruises and abrasions on her shoulders, legs, and feet. This little girl was brutally murdered. Brutally. Okay? Now, I'm going to be showing you pictures of what I found for the crime scene. Very odd is that in the autopsy of Jon'Benet, undigested pineapple was found in her system. I've always wondered about this because she did not eat pineapple. The last thing that Jon'Benet ate at that party before she fell asleep in the car was crab. That was the last thing she ate. Her mother, her father, nobody knows why there was a bowl of pineapple with a spoon on it at their kitchen table. The DNA fingerprints on the bowl and spoon, it didn't belong to Jon'Benet. It belonged to her 9-year-old brother Burke and Patsy Ramsey herself. Was Jon'Benet eating with her killer before she died? This has always bothered me with that. Then another thing that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, maybe someone can clear it up for me. Jon'Benet was a bedwetter. She had problems with wetting the bed, as kids do, some kids. And she, if you look closely on her Beauty and the Beast bed sheets right here, she has a yellow stain. She peed the bed that night. But her clothes, to my knowledge, weren't found with urine on them. So, did somebody change Jon'Benet? Because her clothes did not have urine on them. Now here's the other part. The DNA, there was DNA found, a male's DNA found in the underwear of Jon'Benet. Okay. People automatically assume it's the dad or Burke. Dad or brother. DNA did not match anybody in that house. But then when it came down to that ransom note, the ransom note was written on the same notepad that was on the table that Patsy Ramsey used. The same exact pen that was used to write the note was found in a little holder on the desk in the living room with Patsy Ramsey's DNA on the pen. Unless these people wore gloves, I don't see how else it's not the family. Now for years, I agree that Jon'Benet knew her killer. For years, I have stated that. At first, I was like, no way could a parent kill their child. No way could they spent millions on pageantry for this little girl to give her this amazing life. And they knew how much they could lose. Why would you kill your daughter? And I was like, maybe it was the mother. Now they had the handwriting test done, and obviously John didn't match anything, Burke didn't match anything, but Patsy Ramsey, 200. I don't know how long the letter was, but 200 words or numbers in that 3-page ransom note matched Patsy Ramsey. 200. That's a lot. That's a little too close for comfort, okay? Then, like I said, with them refusing to cooperate with the police within Now, Jon'Benet was laid to rest on her mother's birthday. She was laid to rest. Well, her funeral was. Then she was laid to rest on the 30th. The 31st, the day, New Year's Eve in Georgia, in their town, Georgia, where they're originally from and where her stepsister was buried. Now, they didn't even want to come back to Boulder, Colorado. I understand. You're grieving. You want to get away from the area that your child was murdered. But why wouldn't you be trying to help the police? Why wouldn't you be in there trying to make sure they catch this horrible person so that another child doesn't have to suffer the same fate? It just was so odd to me how they just fought with the police, but decided to go on CNN the next day. CNN can't help get your child back. I'm sorry, not your child back, but to find the killer. You have an interview with CNN. They had to get her out of her room and bring her downstairs and eat pineapple with her. Now, Patsy Ramsey did not sleep in her bed that night. Look at the picture. She did not sleep in the bed. Now, John says she could have slept on the covers, but I believe she was up all night. Patsy Ramsey was in the same clothes she wore the day before the next day. I don't know about you and me, but I don't wear the same clothes, especially not a Christmas outfit, and then the day after Christmas, the same outfit. No, sir, no, ma'am. That's always been very odd to me. Now, you have to listen real carefully with headphones. If you go back and listen to the 911 call, you can hear Patsy talking to somebody, saying, she's talking to the person saying, "Did you hear what I said?" And then you hear not a grown man, but a little boy said, "What do I say?" I thought Burke was asleep. I thought he was asleep. You said that he was asleep when you told John to go check on him. All three of them, Burke, Patsy, and John, none of their stories added up to what time Burke woke up. None of them. I don't know where the male DNA came from. Apparently the same male DNA that was on the underwear was also on her Long John's waistband. They were able to get DNA off of that. They were finally cleared of the case, and Patsy Ramsey, unfortunately, she passed away on June 24th, 2006 at 49 years old. John has remarried since then, and Burke is just a strange individual. Have you seen that interview with Dr. Phil? He's smiling the whole time. Now, some people smile when they're nervous. But to me, it was a weird smile. It was just, ugh. In the basement, there was that broken window. Now, John says he broke that window. But there was a suitcase right under the window. My question's always been, if you knew you were wanting ransom, wouldn't you have taken Jon'Benet? Why would you have killed her unless it was an accident? And here goes my last reason right here. The Ramseys had no idea who had killed their daughter apparently. But unfortunately, they started accusing all the closest people next to them. Okay, 2006, a man named John Mark Carr. Very, very strange man. Okay, very strange man. John Mark Carr, he admits to killing Jon'Benet Ramsey. Unfortunately, the DNA does not match. Why did this man confess to a crime he didn't do? He soaked up the publicity. He loved it. He loved everything about it. In 2016, 10 years later, he decides to sit down with CNN for an interview. He says he can tell you he was there when Jon'Benet died, but he did not succeed her death. He did not kill her. There was another word he used, but he was not the reason that Jon'Benet died. He was there when she took her last breath, he states in the interview, but he was not the one that killed her. You're confessing to something that I really don't think he did. But if he did do it, again, how on earth does Jon'Benet, that lives in this 5-bedroom house, how does she get taken from upstairs, downstairs, sits with her killer, eats pineapple, and doesn't scream, yell, gets hit in the head with a flashlight, gets sexually assaulted, and then tased, and then a garrote put around her neck for her final breath, with 3 people in a house? How does that occur? How? I beats me. I honestly don't know. And again, unless they wore gloves, how is it that Patsy and Burke are the only fingerprints that are on that pineapple bowl? Only one. This case has always haunted me. It's always bothered me of how someone could take the life of this innocent, beautiful little girl who is now an angel in the afterlife. I don't know who was the last person that Jon'Benet saw. But I pray that someday we'll finally get answers, if people didn't already take it to the grave, because there was another person that actually had the same kind of boots that they found at the scene in some dirt. And it was high-tech boots, that's what they were called. And I don't exactly remember what this guy's name was, but he was only 19 years old. He was young. And he killed himself, supposedly. Come to find out, he was murdered. And he said that him and a friend were going to make some money at Christmas time. He also had a taser. There's a picture of him dead on the internet. I couldn't believe that they actually showed that. But yeah, he's dead. And the taser's next to him, the gun's next to him. He's dead. The high-tech boots are over on the side. Could have this young kid killed Jon'Benet? But again, how do you get a 6-year-old to trust you enough to sit down and eat pineapple with her? I don't get it. That's all the people I have. There's nobody else I can think of that they have accused of killing Jon'Benet. Now, comment down below and tell me what you guys think. Like I said, I hope this little girl has been resting in the afterlife. I pray that she doesn't need justice to be at peace. I pray she's already at peace. And if her mom is not the one that took her life, that she's happy to be in her arms again in heaven. I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you guys think. As always, stay beautiful, stay blessed. I love y'all. Bye.